The life story of Mark Twain, born Samuel Langhorne Clemens, is one of the most celebrated authors in American literature. Best known for classics such as The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Twain's life was as colorful and complex as the stories he told. He lived through a rapidly changing America, from the antebellum South to the post-Civil War industrial era, and his experiences shaped his deeply human, often satirical, and profoundly insightful writing. This biography explores the life of Mark Twain in depth, from his humble beginnings in Missouri to becoming the beloved humorist and literary giant of the United States' early life and childhood. 1835, 1851. Samuel Langhorne Clemens was born on November 30th, 1835, in the small town of Florida, Missouri. He was the sixth of 7 children, born to John Marshall Clemens and Jane Lambton Clemens. Only 4 of the Clemens children survived childhood. His birth came shortly after the appearance of Halley's Comet, and Twain famously predicted he would die when it returned, a prediction that would come true. When Twain was 4, the family moved to Hannibal, Missouri, a port town along the Mississippi River. Hannibal would later become the inspiration for the fictional town of St. Petersburg in the Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. The young Samuel was deeply influenced by his surroundings. The steamboats, the rivermen, the slave culture, and the local characters all left their mark on him. Twain's father, a stern and often unsuccessful businessman, died in 1847 when Twain was just 11. To help support the family, Twain left school at age 12 and began working as a printer's apprentice. Later, he found work as a typesetter and contributed humorous articles to his brother Orion's newspaper, the Hannibal Journal. These early experiences laid the foundation for Twain's later writing, career, youthful adventures, and riverboat days. 1851-1861 Twain's teenage and early adult years were filled with wandering and learning. In 1853, he left Hannibal and traveled through the eastern United States, working in various cities as a printer. He visited places like New York, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati. During this period, he began observing the vast diversity of American life, an experience that broadened his perspective. In 1857, Twain fulfilled a childhood dream by becoming a steamboat pilot on the Mississippi River. He apprenticed under the legendary pilot Horace Bixby and earned his pilot's license in 1859. For the next 2 years, Twain worked on the river, learning its complexities and rhythms. His intimate knowledge of the river would later serve as a backdrop in many of his writings. It was during these years that Twain adopted the pen name Mark Twain, a term from riverboat jargon meaning 2 fathoms deep, or 12 feet, a safe depth for riverboats. The river and this profession remained one of the happiest periods of Twain's life, which ended with the outbreak of the Civil War in 1861, effectively halting river traffic, a short military stint, and the move west, 1861-1866, when the Civil War began. Twain briefly joined a Confederate militia called the Marion Rangers, but quickly grew disillusioned and left after 2 weeks. With the river industry shut down, Twain sought new opportunities. He followed his older brother Orion to the Nevada Territory, where Orion had been appointed Secretary of the Nevada Territory. Twain tried his hand at silver mining, but he had little success. Eventually, he returned to journalism, writing for the Territorial Enterprise in Virginia City, Nevada. Here, he honed his wit and developed his signature humorous style. His first big success came in 1865 when he published the celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County in the New York Saturday Press. The story was a sensation and brought Twain national attention. This period marked the true beginning of his literary career. Twain continued writing articles, stories, and humorous sketches, which earned him a reputation as a rising literary figure, travel writing, and literary success. 1867, 1875, and 1867, Twain was invited to travel to Europe and the Holy Land aboard the Quaker City, a luxury excursion steamer. The journey resulted in his first major book, The Innocents Abroad, 1869, a travel narrative that satirized European culture and contrasted it with American democratic ideals. The book was a bestseller and solidified Twain's status as a major. American author. In 1870, Twain married Olivia Langdon, a well-educated and progressive woman from a wealthy New York family. The couple settled in Hartford, Connecticut, and had 4 children: Langdon, Susie, Clara, and Jean. Tragedy struck early when Langdon died in infancy, but the family enjoyed a generally happy life for many years. Twain entered the most productive phase of his career during the 1870s. He published Roughing It, 1872, a humorous account of his time in the American West, followed by The Gilded Age, 1873, a novel co-authored with Charles Dudley Warner that gave its name to the era of rapid economic growth and political corruption. His next major success was The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, 1876, a semi-autobiographical novel capturing the mischievous spirit of boyhood. The book was a critical and commercial success, appealing to both children and adults. The masterpiece, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, 1885 in. 1885, Twain published what is widely considered his masterpiece, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. The novel was a sequel to Tom Sawyer, but far more complex in theme and tone. It followed Huck, a boy fleeing society, and Jim, an escaped enslaved man, as they traveled down the Mississippi River. The book explored themes of race, identity, freedom, and morality in the pre-Civil War South. Though controversial for its use of dialect and racial terms, Huckleberry Finn is lauded for its honest portrayal of American society and its biting critique of racism. It is often referred to as the Great American Novel and remains a cornerstone of American literature, financial struggles and tragedy. 1885-1900. Despite his literary success, Twain struggled financially throughout his life. He made poor investments, particularly in a typesetting machine called the Page Compositor, which ultimately failed and cost him a fortune. In 1884, he founded his own publishing company, Charles L. Webster and Company, which published Ulysses, S. Grant's memoirs, successfully but eventually went bankrupt. To pay off his debts, Twain embarked on a worldwide lecture tour from 1895 to 1896, traveling to countries like Australia, India, and South Africa. The tour was grueling, but he managed to earn enough to repay his creditors in full, even though he was no longer legally obligated to do so, a testament to his sense of personal integrity. During this time, Twain faced devastating personal losses. His beloved daughter Susie died of meningitis in 1896, followed by his wife Olivia in 1904 and his youngest daughter Jean in 1909. These tragedies deeply affected him, and his later works took on a darker, more cynical tone. Later years and philosophical. Writings 1900-1910. In his later years, Twain became increasingly critical of organized religion, imperialism, and human nature. His writings reflected a more pessimistic worldview, although they retained his signature wit and insight. Notable works from this period include The Man That Corrupted Hadleyburg, 1900, What Is Man, 1906, and Letters from the Earth, published posthumously. Twain also became a popular public figure and speaker, beloved for his humor and wisdom. He was awarded honorary degrees from Yale University, the University of Missouri, and Oxford University in England. He continued to write, lecture, and travel extensively. Despite his often gloomy outlook in later years, Twain maintained a sense of humor and remained intellectually curious. He was fascinated by science and technology and became friends with inventors like Nikola Tesla. Death and legacy. Mark Twain died on April 21, 1910, just one day after the return of Halley's Comet, as he had predicted years earlier. He was buried in Elmira, New York, beside his wife and children. Twain's death was mourned around the world. He was remembered not only for his literary genius, but also for his moral courage, his sharp wit, and his deep understanding of the human condition. His legacy lives on through his books, which remain widely read and studied. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, in particular, is considered a landmark of American literature and a powerful critique of racial injustice. Twain's voice continues to resonate with readers for its honesty, humor, and enduring relevance. Conclusion mark. Twain's life was a remarkable journey through the heart of 19th century America. From a barefoot boy in Missouri to a literary legend celebrated across the world, Twain's story reflects the complexities and contradictions of the country he so vividly depicted. His works capture the spirit of American life, its hopes, hypocrisies, humor, and humanity, with unparalleled depth and brilliance. A keen observer of society and a master storyteller, Mark Twain remains a towering figure whose insights into the human experience transcend time and place. Whether through the adventures of Huck and Tom, or the biting satire of his essays and speeches, Twain's voice remains one of the most distinctive and enduring in world literature.